Hey, welcome to your Leo horoscopes for the week of November 26th through December 2nd, which means we are heading into the last month of the year, which is going to fly by because nobody's ready for Christmas. And so, yeah, it's just going to fly by as it tends to do, which means we're going to be in 2024 before we know it. And I am actually looking forward to the new year. I don't have expectations about miracles taking place, of course, although I do believe that miracles do happen. I've seen them happen, had one recently, as a matter of fact. But astrologically, and I'm not getting into politics here, I would never. But astrologically, I do have some hope because the last couple of years, all the Mercury retrogrades have been in Earth signs for 2 straight years. I cannot remember a time where that happened. In the time that I've been doing horoscopes, which has been about 10, 15 years or so, I'm going to go with 10, not 15. 10 years or so I've been doing horoscopes, never seen retrogrades in the just one element 2 years in a row, not that I can recall anyway. And the earth signs really are the signs that get things moving and get things done. They're the fixers. They like to, they like to make improvements where improvements are needed. And so to have Mercury in retrograde, it feels like it's prevented any kind of fixes happening. And there's just a lot of things that need to be fixed right now. I mean, people are struggling. Um, so that's the thing. Next year, we are moving out of that because the Mercury retrograde is moving into fire signs, which means we will have a full Leo retrograde at some point, obviously, around Leo time in the summertime. We are going to have a full Leo Mercury retrograde. But on a world scale, hopefully that means that things can get moving and improvements can happen and we can get out of this whatever situation that we've put ourselves in, because it feels for a lot of people like since the pandemic things have gotten more expensive, it's gotten more difficult to make ends meet, nobody has extra money anymore. It's just kind of crazy, and we need to smooth things out. We need to provide a solution to this problem. And hopefully that movement from one element to another is going to help with that. Focus is on your day-to-day schedule for you Leos this week. And the moon, of course, is going to come in and shake things up at the end of the week, starting on Friday. And it's really shaking things up too, because the moon moves into a square with Jupiter and Venus on Friday that turns into a T square by Saturday as Jupiter moves into opposition with Venus. And Jupiter is very much focused on the past in retrograde. Now, Jupiter is all about growth and expansion. When it's retrograde, it feels like you're not moving anywhere and it's sitting in the past, which means you can't change it anyways. Venus's focus is on finances. So while you're looking at your day-to-day schedule, trying to make improvements, if you're looking to the past for inspiration, chances are you're not going to find it. Or if you're dealing with your financial situation in the same way you always have, and you keep coming up with problems, it's time to find a new way of dealing with that situation. We all get stuck in patterns where we continue to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And a lot of the ways that we've dealt with things financially in the past may have been successful, partially successful. It's just not working now. So I feel like this is coming up as a reminder not to waste too much time doing things the same way you've always done, because especially if intuitively you keep getting pulled in a different direction to check things out. A lot of it is a comfort zone thing. We don't want to leave our comfort zone. but you could die in your comfort zone also. Think about it that way. You could go broke in your comfort zone. That's not something that you want to have happen. The moon is in a trine with the sun and Mars, which are focused on long-term goals, also in a trine with Neptune, which is focused on self. So it's not all bad, right? It's basically you have plans, you want to put all this energy into your long-term goals. The financial situation isn't quite where you want it to be. Make sure that you just put the things in place that you need to put into place to get that sorted rather than just having an emotional breakdown, if that makes sense. And also, intuition is really important. Intuition can't happen when you're overly emotional. Intuition can't happen when you're overthinking things either. Those two things clog up the intuition. And the number one thing that clogs up intuition is just not listening, just not following through with that intuition, because it's either not what you want to hear or it's a little bit out of your comfort zone and uncomfortable. Our intuition doesn't tell us what we want to hear. It always tells us what we need to hear. As we move into the end of the week on Saturday, that T-square continues with Uranus and Venus. The trine continues with the sun and Mars. So I kind of tend to look at this as you get to choose where you want your energy to go. Now, because the moon is involved, we're talking about an emotional situation always, right? And most of the time, we choose to let the emotional situation rule our reactions. But we don't have to. We can be above that. We can focus our energy on what we want to do and not necessarily get tripped up and stuck by the emotional reaction. That's where we tend to have a problem. Life is all about choices. And while I am not knocking mental illness, and while I do completely understand and agree with the fact that there are certain levels of depression and bipolar disorder and schizophrenia that are genuine illnesses, a lot of our anxiety and depression and even bipolarism, for the most part, are all manageable by the choices that we make. If we allow how we feel to bury us in those emotions, what do? We sit there and we go over it in our heads over and over and over again until it's made us crazy. And then we feel like there's no way out and it's just a hopeless situation. And what's the point of even trying at that point? If we choose not to do that, we stay more motivated. We can choose a more positive outlook. We can choose what kind of energy we're putting into those projects and those goals. It makes a huge, huge, huge difference. So again, it's all about choices this week. And that is pretty much what I have for you guys this week. It's the moon, yes. It is causing a little bit of a problem, yes. Doesn't have to be. It does not have to be as big as you choose to make it or not make it. It is completely and totally manageable for you. It just depends on how you're managing those feelings at the time. And I get it. Some days are more difficult than others. I've been there too. That's okay. As long as it's not taking up the whole week, you're good. You can take up a day, maybe two, depending on the situation. So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, and would like to leave a tip or donation, I would greatly appreciate that through my coffee link, which is there in the description. I do love all the coffees. Thank you so much for your guys' support. I really, really appreciate it. I can't do what I'm doing without it, basically. So I really appreciate that. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, you guys be the powerful leaders that you know you are and make those choices. Make the choices that are going to make you successful. So make the choice to be successful. Any other choice just isn't the right choice, right? I'll see you guys next week. You guys make it a great one.